It is Thursday, December 19th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, Santa's lesser-known 10th reindeer, Kevin J.P. Shadrick.
Welcome in. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Week 16. It is Thursday. We've got a busy 2 hours ahead here on Jaguars Radio. First, it's Jaguars Happy Hour. It's Week 16. We'll get to the game that America's been waiting for. The Jaguars and the Raiders coming up from Allegiant Stadium. It's a 4:25 Eastern kickoff time. Jaguars youth getting some playing time. And some significant numbers could be in the cards for Brian Thomas Jr. with a strong outing this week. Baptist Health Injury Report, we'll get that to you when it comes down the line. And the Doug Pederson Show at 5 o'clock on the Jaguars Radio Network. We'll have the head coach in studio with us. We'll get his thoughts on the week that was, coming off the loss to the Jets. And looking ahead to the Las Vegas Raiders on holiday weekend, the weekend before Christmas. Long trip out to Vegas coming up. We're on 1010XL AM, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Good afternoon.
How you doing, JP?
I'm well. Better than the Jags are right now, unfortunately. It's 3-11, another loss last week, one-score game, blown coverages.
That's what I was worried about in that game. You know, and I think we actually talked about it here. And that, look, you got a Tennessee football team that couldn't take advantage of the mistakes that you had. And then we had said that if you make those same mistakes against Aaron Rodgers, he's going to expose you. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, the defense loses a game again. I mean, that's because they're not clean. They're not assignment clean. And if you can't be assignment clean, it's hard to win football games.
Well, they were pretty good for 50 minutes of the game, the first 50. It was the final 10.
Last time I checked, the game goes for 60
minutes. Not good.
Yeah.
But that's the story of this season. Missed opportunities and key moments, mainly on defense, a lot of times on offense too. They can't get things done in a big moment late sometimes this year, but that's just the story of this Jags team this season.
Well, and look, had a chance to do something there at the end of the ball game, and you throw an interception on a down and distance that did not require you to force the ball into a situation that the ball never should have been forced into. So I mean, I kind of blame the defense, but then again, I blame the offense as well, and I also blame special teams. Special teams gave up a fake punt that had kept the drive alive for the New York Jets early in the ball game that led directly to a touchdown. And really close to stopping that play from happening, but you had just a little bit too tight of an alignment on the outside and not a whole lot of awareness by anybody else. Chad Mooma's the outside guy, got a little tight. Gets reached, almost makes the tackle, but almost doesn't count unless you're playing horseshoes.
Or hand grenades.
Or grenades.
Right. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that
I don't ever
counts.
want to play the second one.
I don't either. I'm not really good at the first.
There's a fake punt right there. And
you watch it on Jaguars.com.
Pretty amazing hurdle there at the end of the game, and Chad Mooma almost has them. And, I mean, this is the kind of thing, though, that you've got to be aware of. And I think they were, because Jaguars probably had a couple fakes under their
sure they do.
belt as well. Or
most
under
weeks. They have probably one in play most weeks, just in case they see a look.
Probably, but I would bet that in a game like that, because it's against the Jets, it's home game, you're eliminated from the playoffs, why not have a couple? Maybe a couple punt fakes, maybe a fake field goal, maybe some kind of trick punt return, or, just something. Look, all bets are off. You're mathematically eliminated. What's there to lose?
You can't surprise onside kick anymore, unfortunately.
Another game?
Right. Well, yeah. There's only 3 games left to lose. So
you lose another game. Okay. Well, we lost another game.
So we'll see what happens with that moving ahead. Of course, the Jaguars lost another one. They've got 3 to go. And this is the challenge of this late in the season that's like this. It's the weekend before Christmas. It's a West Coast road trip to the Pacific time zone in Las Vegas. A lot of distractions.
Wait, what city did you say
Las
it is?
Vegas.
Is that not a distraction right there?
It could be.
For some.
Right? So you got to make sure that's not a distraction. Families are coming into town.
You got to have the blackout curtains that have that sound dampening material maybe when you're stay there? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But everything's going on outside of football around this football team starting this weekend with families coming in. The Jags are home next week after Christmas. There'll be a lot of people pulling on players' time. And how, as a coach and as a staff, do you make sure everybody maintains their focus? Because we've seen games like this, Logs, late in seasons. 2017 comes to mind. Jaguars had clinched. They go to San Francisco the weekend before Christmas and get blown out.
Well, you've just described something that, every person on the planet is going through around the Christmas holidays, right? Look, it's real, and it's nothing unique to players, So, look, people are able to stay focused on their work and job. Why can't players do that? The one difference is that football players have a little different physical requirement to their job. So you need to make sure that you take care of the body, get the proper rest, the proper diet.
Stay away from the Hershey Kisses,
the holiday cookies and milk like I do.
When we just had some in studio earlier.
Yeah, I know. I know. They're really good, though. It's very easy to eat holiday cookies. Put them in front of me. Give me a good holiday sugar cookie or one of Tammy's oatmeal raisin cookies or one of my wife's Miss Jewel 100 cookie recipe. Oh, my goodness. I don't even need to have them in those shapes, like a bell or a star or a Christmas tree.
Come in any form you want.
I don't need the extra sugar on top. Just give me a straight, good cookie.
But you got to get these guys to power through that, and there's 3 games to go and stay somehow
but it's
focused,
football,
right?
man. Bretton Strange said, they're football players. That's what they do. They play ball. They love ball. I think this team, for the most part, has – I don't want to say they played smart, but, for the most part, they played hard. There are certain games that I didn't think that the effort was very good. I didn't think the game against Detroit was very good. I didn't think the game against Buffalo was very good. Didn't think the effort against Chicago was very good.
Yeah,
the home opener wasn't great. But lately, I think that they've been playing pretty hard. And I give them credit because it's not easy to play hard at this juncture of the season and also when you're eliminated from it all.
Ladies, join us at Everbank Stadium Sunday, December 29th, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. for the lively and fun-filled Glitz and Blitz brunch. Enjoy delicious pastries, refreshing mimosas, and a special appearance by The Roar and a Jags legend. Grab your tickets now at jaguars.com/glitz and blitz. Be a great stocking stuffer for a significant other.
Yeah.
If you're trying to look for that last second.
Did you say Bloody Marys or just mimosas?
Mimosas. They might have Bloody Marys too. I don't write them. I just read them. So who knows?
Kind of like Bloody Marys better.
We've
than
had this
mimosas.
conversation.
I know we
before.
have. It's just, you brought it up again, so I'm bringing it up again as well.
So you're not going to go.
I told you last week. Give me a bacon stick and a bloody, right? The ones that's like a straw.
We did have this conversation last week. I knew it was the show.
Yeah.
Had to be.
You forgot for a minute, didn't you?
It took me a second. I know I've talked about this with somebody before.
The bacon straw.
It was you
back.
in this seat last week. All right, Mac Jones last week, 2 touchdowns as a starter for the first time for the Jaguars.
Yeah, it was better.
2 picks though, or whatever.
He was better.
How?
Well, first of all, he didn't change the play and keep the ball away from Brian Thomas Jr.
That helps.
And stick with the play and make sure you throw it to Brian Thomas Jr. He did a good job of that. I think they did a very good job of that just as an offense. They got Brian Thomas. I think it was on the 4th play of the game, offensively anyway. And then again, on the 6th, he had a key 3rd down conversion. Very surprised about how the Jets treated him. They didn't treat him like he was a special player and get Sauce Gardner onto him until kind of later in the ball game when it was a little bit too late as far as that was concerned. But I thought Mac did a good job of getting the ball to him. He's still got some things that he's got to get better at. Like the one thing that he did that I was scratching my head about, he took a sack and he goes to the sideline and he's just standing there and he's in bounds. He could have gotten smoked legally because he was a ball carrier at that time. And when he runs out to the side and he just stands there, it's like, dude, what are you doing? And he's looking at the defensive lineman like, wait a minute.
They're talking back and forth. Like, what are you doing?
And Kinlaw says, hey, dumb guy.
What were you going to say?
You just gave us a sack.
That's not what you were going to say.
I was going to say dum-dum.
Okay, that's not what you were going to say either.
But you can't do that. And then Doug Pederson, I think after the game or Monday said, well, it didn't hurt us anything. Well, sure it did.
Yeah, it did.
Because it moved you back and it took you out of an easier opportunity at putting it in the end zone. So yes, it hurt. But yeah, I'm very confused on that play. And when he said it didn't hurt him, I'm sure he meant, well, we still got a field goal out of it.
Got 3 points.
But look, that was a second down play. Third down, instead of taking a loss of basically 5 or 6 yards, you're within much easier distance. It's much harder on a defense to defend from 5 yards away as opposed to 10 or 11 yards away. So yeah, that was a very odd decision. The first interception that he threw was essentially equal to a punt, which from that standpoint, okay, it didn't cost you. Well, but if he throws the ball more to the outside, gives his guy an opportunity, okay, well, maybe your guy makes a play.
Or you get a PI.
Or you get a PI or, whatever. And if the guy makes the interception on a good play, okay, good play. But don't allow him to make a good play when you throw the ball more towards the middle where you shouldn't throw it. And then the interception late in the ball game, again, it was a very short yardage situation to where just dump it into the middle, move the chains, and let's line up and play another down. Instead of throwing the ball into cover 3, which that's the design of the play they had on that particular side was for against cover 2. And they, look, Sauce Gardner didn't bite on it one bit. He didn't have to.
No.
Because he was a deep third player.
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
And Mac read that one wrong, and But the good thing is he's getting better. And look, we all want him to get better. Number one, he's a local guy, raised here, Bowles kid, all that stuff. But look, the better he plays, the bigger the contract he gets somewhere else, the better the compensatory pick for the Jaguars.
Especially
that's good.
Absolutely, yeah. You play better these 3 games down the stretch. You never know in the offseason what could happen.
Well, first of all, you play better for the team, number one. You help everybody else around you play better, which allows them to make more money for guys that have contracts coming up, okay? And that's, by the way, that's pretty important. And then again, also, he gets a better contract, which gives you a better compensatory pick in return because, look, you gave something up for him in that trade, and the whole purpose of that, for the most part, was to get something on the back end in return.
He doesn't lack for confidence on the field, I'll say that. And energy, I guess, is probably a better term.
Yeah, sure. Look, he's having fun out there, and
right.
I appreciate that part of it. I just want him to play better. Play better. His offensive line, and here's the reality, the offensive line has been playing good. I mean, offensive line's giving him a chance. Running game's giving him a chance.
Yeah, last week it did, yeah.
Hadn't been consistent. But look, for the last couple of weeks, it's been pretty good. Tennessee, okay. The Houston game, I thought it was pretty good against Houston. After they smacked Trevor and Al-Shaair takes him out of the ball game,
right.
The Jaguars leaned on the running game, and the running game was good. I think since that point, they have played very well up front. And Walker Little's played well. Offensive line has settled down. Even Anton Harrison has increased the level of his play to where he's playing better. So they're giving him a chance up front. And got some pretty good wide receivers because, even though you've got some guys that are on injured reserve, the reality is Parker Washington's a good player. Brian Thomas Jr., exceptional player. Brenton Strange, taking the place of Evan Ingram, he's pretty damn good.
So far, so good, yeah.
Pretty damn good.
Let's see it some more, but yes, I agree.
So
keep playing.
Even though it's a depleted opportunity somewhat because of some of the guys you lost. Look, you got some good players out there now. Come on.
Let's come back in a moment and take a look at the Las Vegas Raiders and a battle of rookie pass catchers that are 1 and 2 in the league in yardage this year as rookies.
This is the big sale of the game, or the sell.
Yeah, the sell. I know how. Yeah.
And when we come back,
yes,
there's a little thing that the league puts out. And I want to kind of compare logo graphics to meat and potatoes storylines.
That'll bring them in, Logs. That's coming back. It's Attention XL, AM 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
UNF is a top public university committed to serving the region, a place where visionary minds come together to create effective solutions. With more than 70% of their graduates working in the area, UNF is North Florida's university, offering 100-plus majors, affordable tuition, and programs in high-demand fields. Soar into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium, because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Does propane power your home or business? Count on AmeriGas for expert propane delivery with a neighborly smile. At AmeriGas, the official propane partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, their drivers deliver for Duval. Their local team will keep your home or business running smoothly throughout football season and beyond. Call 844-PRO-JAGS for a free propane quote today. Grilling this tailgate season? Visit AmeriGas.com to find your closest cylinder exchange location and keep it teal with a custom Jaguars wrapped grill tank.
Great player, good young player. Just his ability to separate, get open. Obviously, using him the right way, and just making plays for him. And he's a dynamic tight end.
Head coach Doug Pederson earlier this week discussing Brock Bowers, the rookie tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders. Welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We're at the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center ahead of Week 16, the Jaguars and the Raiders. And Brock Bowers is the leading receiver for the Las Vegas Raiders and the leading rookie receiver in all of the NFL.
Receptions-wise.
Receiving yards and receptions-wise. Brock Bowers, 968 receiving yards, most of any rookie in the NFL this year. Of course, Brian Thomas Jr. at 956 is right there on his heels, and that will be the selling point of this game. Those two.
Yeah, and they're really good players, and they're both fun to watch, and both of them are a little shy of 1,000 yards. I would expect in this game that both of them will eclipse that. Bowers, 32 yards needed. Brian Thomas Jr., he needs 44 for these guys at 1,000. And Bowers is going for a much bigger goal, which is surpassing Mike Ditka's record that still stands for a rookie tight end in receiving yards, which is crazy to think it's lasted that long.
1961, Mike Ditka, 1,076 receiving yards.
I thought he was a coach for the Bears. I didn't know he was a player.
Yes, he certainly was for a long time. Bowers still has to pass Kyle Pitts of Atlanta in 2021, also at 1,026 yards.
He'll pass that up.
That should be. And it's only a big game, a little over 100 yards away from Mike Ditka.
Yeah, the other thing, too, the reality is that his 90 catches that he has broke the rookie tight end receptions record. The tight end receptions record in a season is held by Zach Ertz, and he had 116 in a season.
I remember Evan Ingram was like 2 catches away from him.
Yes, and also Bowers is chasing the rookie receptions record period, which Puka Nacua had that last year, and he had 105. So Bowers would need 16 to break that in the final 3 games, which
I hope that doesn't happen on Sunday.
No, I'm just saying is that, look, if I'm a quarterback for the Raiders, I'm throwing the ball to Brock Bowers a lot.
How do you cover him if you're this Jags defense? You can plan all you want. You got to go execute it. We know they haven't done that a lot in big moments. They've had big plays and missed assignments. How do you cover Brock Bowers?
Well, it takes everybody. I mean, you're going to have safety on him at times, a linebacker on him at times. You're going to be doubling him, bracket. Sometimes it's a zone, and so you just have to be aware of where he is if you're playing in a zone. But, yeah, I mean, he's a good football player. Who would you like to match up with him? I mean, I don't know. I mean, would you rather have Devin Lloyd, Antonio Johnson, Foye Oluokun? If you're covered in man, who are you choosing?
He's big, too. That's the other thing. It's not like he's got some
6'4",
physicality
230 pounds. About the size of Evan.
Yeah, but he can
– a little taller maybe. Evan's probably 6'3".
Yeah.
Brock Bowers 6'4". I mean, so just a little difference in height. With the height, I mean, Antonio Johnson's
going to need Johnson,
big safety, right?
6'1".
I mean, that's not an easy decision.
Do you put 2 guys on him?
You try. I mean, you'd like to, right?
What are the other options for Vegas that would scare you?
But here's the thing about doubling a tight end. Seriously, I mean, if you're doubling a tight end, I mean, is he a explosive play waiting to happen? You know what I mean? I mean, is he gaining 17 yards a catch, and is he a threat to go the distance with the speed? I mean, most tight ends are not that.
Well, unless if he's open for 15 yards or wide open, then probably. I mean, we've seen that
I
happen.
I would hope
run the right
that
way.
He's not going to have that kind of a day. I mean, look at his yards per catch. 10.8.
It's enough to move the sticks.
He's better than Kelsey.
Kelsey's got his career low.
Yeah, he's not doing so good this year.
It's been enough.
He's been traveling the world, going to concerts and stuff.
It was his lowest last year until the playoffs, and then he turned it on.
He will turn it on again. He's still a good football player.
That's right.
Even though a lot of people are kind of criticizing him because he has the lowest yards per catch in his career, he's still catching a lot of balls, and he's still a factor. And, oh, by the way, Kansas City's still really good because of him.
That's certainly part of it, no doubt about that. Hey, what about the other side of things here? This Raiders defense, no Max Crosby. He's done for the year. He's their best player on the team overall.
Big loss.
So he's done. K'Lavon Chaisson is out there. A couple sacks over the last 3 weeks and a tackle for loss, I think, in 4 straight games now for K'Lavon. Getting an opportunity at least to play a little more on defense.
Playing hard. I mean, is he top-end talent? No. He's a veteran player that's been around the block a little bit. He's got a little bit of athleticism, and he's got an opportunity. But I can tell you this, he's no Max Crosby.
No, come on, who is?
I mean,
not many.
Max Crosby's such a special player, and I think he's got an ankle issue that he is scheduled to have or did have surgery on. Player that has a motor to no end.
He never leaves the field.
Impressive.
Every snap he plays.
And I'm a big fan of watching Max Crosby play the game. Love watching him. Sad to see him not available. Look, even though a lot of people say, oh, well, that's good for the Jaguars. Yeah, but also, man, that's good for watching. He's a great player. I mean, when you get to see great players play, I mean, even if it's on the other side of the field, it's awesome. It's what you play the game for, is to compete against the best players, the great players. And you want to beat them at their best. And unfortunately, him not being out there keeps them from being at their best. But that's one of the reasons why K'Lavon Chaison's got an opportunity.
Yeah.
The guy that I am kind of surprised that is not playing better for the Raiders, I would have missed this pick. Tyler Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. I really liked him coming out. Thought he was big and strong and kind of freakishly athletic, and watching him out there on the field, he's just a guy. So for whatever reason, he hasn't panned out, and they don't really have anybody else. I mean, the defensive tackles are just kind of eh.
So the Jags should be able to run, in theory, right?
Well, the one thing I will say is that the Raiders just play hard. They play hard. The Falcons were able to do a pretty good job on the ground against them.
Yeah.
Falcons ran for 168 yards, but they stayed committed because Kirk Cousins was so bad.
So bad. And they were kind of sleepwalking. They couldn't put him away, and Cousins was bad. And, even with all these block kicks that the Falcons had in the game against them, they couldn't break away.
How about the Raiders getting Kirk Cousins put to the bench?
Right. And probably moving on to another team.
They passed for 93 yards in that game. Kirk Cousins did.
It's a lot of money for 93 yards.
That's not so good.
No, they're not paying it.
The Falcons are paying a bunch of money, guaranteed money. So it's the Michael Penix era.
It is now
in Atlanta. So
the Raiders did that to them, and they had 2 shots in the end zone at the end, Hail Marys, at the end of the game. Well, they kept playing.
Look, the Raiders defense, they play hard. The one thing about that football team is that they've got a ways to go to build that roster, to build that team, and they don't have a quarterback, by the way. Okay, they started the year out with Gardner Minshew. Okay, and if you think Gardner Minshew is going to be your starting quarterback, and you think you're going to have success with him, you've made a huge mistake. And I think it was just a stopgap situation where they could bring him in, knowing that they're going to have to find a quarterback in the future. And Minshew got hurt, which it's not like he was playing stellar football while he was in there. Aiden O'Connell is now kind of the guy that's expected to maybe start this week. This past week it was not. It was the former Atlanta Falcon cast-off.
Yeah, Desmond
Ridder. And they have 3 quarterbacks on the roster right now since Minshew's on IR. The third-string quarterback has been, but this past game he was actually the number 2. Jacksonville's very own Carter Bradley.
Mm-hmm. Gus's kid.
Providence School.
Absolutely. Didn't get out there yet. Thought he was going to get in there.
I was hoping he was going to get a little playtime.
Yeah. Of course, the Raiders are right there. Right now, I think they're currently 2nd in the draft order, but in projected strength of schedule, they're number 1 in the draft order, depending on where you're looking this year. So I saw all these signs.
Them and the Giants.
Right. They're back and forth, depending on what service you kind of look at. Officially, they're number 2 right now, without the games being played. But there's all these signs, tank for Shedeur Sanders and all this stuff. That's what we saw on Monday night, at least.
Right.
So that's what the fans in Vegas are thinking about.
And let's see, the Jaguars at number 4. We're looking at the chart right now. Raiders are at 1 or 2. Giants are right there with them. Yeah. New England at 3. Jacksonville at 4.
Yeah.
It's not so good.
It's what it is.
Not so good.
So
who would have thunk? Not me.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
And it's bad.
So, but looking forward to Vegas, not from the standpoint of a lot of people like to go there and party and gamble and all that. I'm not a partier. I'm not a gambler guy. Mm-hmm. But I like food. Okay, I like food. So we're going to have a nice dinner while we're out there. We're going to find some good food.
I'm excited for you. Let's come back and get Kai Stevens involved in this conversation.
And by the way, JP, they have all kinds of rules about what you can and cannot do in Vegas if you're working for an NFL team.
Correct.
I thought a few years ago they were opposed to Vegas and all that
stuff. They were.
You
couldn't do anything.
Wonder why there's a team there now. Ka-ching, ka-ching.
The money. Follow the money.
It's all about the money.
We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. Register your furry friend for the Jaguars official 4-legged fan club for pets. Presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your pet receives access to exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Visit Jaguars.com/promotion/4-legged fan club and sign up today. Kainani Stevens in studio. When we return, it's Jaguars Happy Hour.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans covering repairs on up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call 800-471-1223. Coverage varies by plans. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading healthcare and technology organizations nationwide to deliver workforce solutions. CSI prides itself on building meaningful relationships and provides personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a Zip Chair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
I think it can go one of two ways, right? If the players don't have that mindset, or if I don't have that mindset, it's going to set you back even further. But if you come into it and you embrace it, all right, we know our situation. We got it. We understand that. But I think these next 3 weeks really can set us up for the future, for the off season, for next year and how we can build and where we need to add pieces and all that kind of stuff, the development of our roster. But having guys like Brenton make those comments, I mean, those are the type of players you want, right? You want those football players that love being here in this building, soaking up football, soaking up ball, love being on the grass. Those are the guys that you can build your team around, and he's one of several, obviously, and many that we have on the team that can do that.
Head coach Doug Pederson yesterday, the full press conference at Jaguars.com and Jaguars YouTube. Talking about Brenton Strange, loving ball, being in here on Monday after the game. It's Jaguars Happy Hour from the Hyundai Studios. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Kainani Stevens joining us in studio each and every Thursday, 4:30-ish. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Week 16.
You have to love ball in Week 16.
A season like this.
Yes, you do.
Gotta love it, Kai.
Yes, you do.
And I know you do. So, now what? 3 weeks to go, you hear that kind of stuff. It's like, we're looking ahead, good nucleus for the future, good young guys getting time. And that's really what we're looking at now is what newer, younger guys get opportunities to build up down the stretch here.
And that's how you have to look. I mean, we've been talking about it for a couple weeks ourselves. Now they're kind of saying it. But, you've seen some of the move towards that. We haven't seen Ronald Darby much anymore. In the secondaries, they're really trying to figure out what they have going on back there. Andre Sisco hasn't been playing as much because they're trying to see what they have with Antonio Johnson, and Mason Smith's been playing significant amount of time, and we barely saw him at all. It wasn't even activated half of the games in the beginning of the season. So we are seeing that happen as this goes along. Yes, you would like to win a couple games, feel good, be competitive, but you have to look forward. And you need to, I think what we've been talking about mostly is just knowing what you have, like what areas do you need to address. And also as this team, like there was a lot of players, I felt like at least a couple players this year that they took that they wanted to develop further. And if you can develop them in these last 4 or 5 games that they've been doing this, and so then they're ready to go next year, that's a huge win for you.
Well, Ronald Darby didn't play a snap.
0.
Yep.
This past game.
0.
All dressed up, nowhere to go.
And, I mean, to be honest, I don't know what took so long to move Monteric into the starting lineup. I mean, I was kind of hoping that would happen a little while ago, and I wasn't asking for or wanting Darby to go down to 0 snaps. But Monteric had shown that he was playing better. And when teams are knowingly going after that guy, which is Darby, then it's time to make a change. And it took them a little while. They finally did. The safety position, with Antonio Johnson, look, he's not without mistake. I mean, he made a huge error in this past game. And so the growing pains continue with him. The growing pains continue with Mason Smith, which, a lot of times you got to kind of just bite the bullet sometimes and take the growing pains. But if you're losing, you can do that. If you're winning and competing for playoff spots, you don't have that ability. And I hope it pays off for those guys down the road because it's not paying dividends for the team right now.
Yeah, what was the deal with Mason? I mean, he was a healthy scratch a couple, 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden had the ankle issue that popped up in practice and had him down for a while. It just seems like he was kind of on the outside.
Well, and look, he had some good rushes this past game, I thought, but he got reached again a couple times. I mean, that's kind of like defensive tackle 101 is don't get reached. Stay in your gap. And he got reached a couple times as he's done for basically the last 3 games, which is, again, it's just part of it. But at least his pass rush was better this week, which he affected the quarterback a couple times, which was good. I mean, good to see, because I thought that was his strong suit coming out of camp, was his ability to do that.
Kai, we're chasing rookie receiving leader numbers this week. That's
we
what
are.
we're looking
well, he's
at.
got 2 of them already, right?
Well, for the Jaguars, yes. But he's also not far behind Brock Bowers on the other side this week for the rookie lead in receiving yardage this season.
Gosh, that's scary. Tight ends for this team are always a concern
I know,
for me.
Right? Yeah, right?
And he's the best one.
That's what it is.
This year, at least.
Pretty bad. Okay, the league puts out this cheat sheet, I guess you might call it, right? And it's a whole packet. Okay, and they go through first of all, they start the packet out, and it's got a bunch of league stats, trends, fun little kind of statistical pieces of information.
Nuggets that you can use.
The playoff picture, all those things. And then they get to the game capsules. And each game capsule obviously describes the main storylines. And then it has the rosters, the schedule, and then storylines within that game. And so I had to pull this one up just so the people that can see the broadcast of this can see this. But then also for the people that are listening on radio, it's a one-pager. And the first page is essentially...
Is it normally more than a page?
No, it's normally 2 or 3.
Okay, so we're down to 1. Go on.
So it's down to 1 page, and the first page is just logo stuff. And it has one main storyline. JP, Kai, what's another great game this week? In the NFL.
Oh, the Ravens and the Steelers.
Do you happen to have that storyline?
No, I don't.
See if you can get the number of storylines. Just real quick.
Okay.
Do some work around here, JP.
We got time. We got plenty of time, JP.
Also, this reminds me very much of like if you were in college or when I was in college and you're writing an essay and so you put the title in a really big font and then you put like the extra lines in and you add the margins to fill this page in is what it looks like to me when I'm looking at this.
They've got no fill.
There's a lot of filler at the top of that page.
On the top of the release for the capsule of the Jaguars Raiders game, it's got one storyline, and that storyline reads this: standout rookie pass catchers Brian Thomas Jr. and Brock Bowers square off with 1,000 receiving yards benchmark in sight. That is the only storyline of this ball game. Now compare that to another game.
Steelers-Ravens has 9 pages of notes.
Okay, and how many storylines, like main storylines, do you see?
Just
out of curiosity.
I got to go back to the top.
Okay, then so they have 9 pages.
There's 6.
There's 6 main storylines in 9 pages.
Yes.
Okay, the Jaguars game, Raiders game has 1 storyline, 2 pages. Did you count the main thing as 1 page?
I did.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's 9-2. I mean, that's
it's almost like it's 2 good teams facing off against each other in the other game.
If you're going to break out the popcorn, do it for 2 rookies.
Absolutely.
That's
putting
it.
on a
right?
show.
This game will be on in 2 markets, probably.
Oh, it'd be
Jacksonville and Vegas.
Yeah, it'd be very small. But okay, so I was curious because I actually went through this and I didn't find anything else. So the next main storyline for real is draft order
for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Boy, that's great. Raiders have lost 10 straight games. This is a little interesting nugget. So the Raiders have lost 10 straight games since starting the season 2-2. It's tied for the second longest losing streak within a season in team history. They lost 13 games back in 1962. I didn't know that about the Raiders back in 1962. The last team to lose 11-plus straight games within a season.
Yep.
I'm feeling I know this is
I was here.
The 2020 Jaguars.
We were all here. Kai, you weren't here. Everybody else was here. It
Sounds
was rough.
painful, though.
Yeah, it was.
And then it goes on to talk about the rookies, Brian Thomas, Brock Bowers, and they mix in Malik Neighbors, Ladd McConkey, a little bit of Justin Blackmon thrown in there because, obviously BTJ has the Jaguars rookie receiving record. Now will surpass with yardage. Is that all? He's got them all now?
He's tied for catches. He's got the other ones.
Tied for catches. One catch, and then he passes Justin Blackmon. But yeah, this is what the game's it's down to.
It's a great
2 rookies to sell the popcorn.
This is a great lead-in for Ford Trucks. Looking for the MVP of the truck game? Better check out the 2024 Ford F-150, loaded with impressive capability and game-changing tech. You can dominate work, play, and everything in between. Test drive an F-150 at your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, 1010XL. 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Kai Stevens. There's a television program tonight, Kai.
I'm told there is, yes. I will be participating.
Who is involved? Who else is participating?
Jeff Lageman is participating, I believe.
I will be there.
Trayvon Walker, I believe, will be there. I'm very misinformed. Sure? I don't want to inform anybody of these things these days. For the second week in a row, I said the wrong person. Huh. So we're hitting those doldrums in week 16 for me.
Well, we didn't have a person last week.
That was maybe my problem.
That was a problem. Yeah, but how'd the show go last week?
Always good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
I think it's good to talk it out a little bit.
But I'm looking forward to having Trayvon on because there is a little Trayvon nugget here.
It's great
on this.
Well, Brock Bowers shouted out his former teammate when he was talking to the media this week.
Trayvon Walker leads the Jaguars with 8.5 sacks and 11 tackle for losses in 2024. He needs, this is pretty cool though, and this really is a big deal. He needs 1.5 sacks, and Josh obviously needs 3 to get to double digits, which would join Calais Campbell, which he had double-digit sacks in back-to-back years in 17 when it was Saxonville, and 18. That's a big deal. I mean, for a pass rusher to get to double digits is a monstrous deal.
Did you ever get to double digits?
1 year. 1 year, and then I was always right below it. 7, 8,
Can't get one more sack to get over
Well, I blew my ACL out after having 10, and then it was an uphill battle from there. Injury after injury. But it is what it is.
Trayvon Walker.
Yes.
One of the good guys.
Absolutely.
I've got to say this about him last week. Just real quick.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I thought he pass rushed really well.
Good.
I did. I thought he had a plan.
I mean, that
is his job.
That's kind of what he does, right?
No, I know. But, usually Trayvon's like he's a power guy, and he wants to push and do that. This time he actually had some quick, decisive moves, which was, look,
so his
I know a lot of
this
people
week was different.
didn't see that. He just had a plan, which a lot of times Trayvon's just a power guy. it impressed me. Anyway, just had to throw that in there because it impressed the hell out of me, and I'm looking forward to watching him play. I'm a big fan. He's a tough guy.
When was it last year that Jaguars.com you went up to his hometown? When was that?
Yeah, not this past summer, but the one before. We went to Thomaston, Georgia. It's where he's from, yes.
Yeah. And got to see like everything behind the scenes of
all
him coming
behind the
up, right?
scenes. What was he, back-to-back state basketball champions, I believe. Yeah, he's just, I mean, Trayvon's just such a good person, and his family is so welcoming, and it's easy to see where he gets his work ethic from, and he's just, he's one of those people you don't need to motivate, even if they're, whatever the record is going to end up being. He doesn't need that kind of motivation. You can tell he has that within himself, and he's just getting better by the year, which is great.
What was the name of the barbecue place in Thomaston?
Piggy Park?
Piggy Park. You got it.
Park.
How was it?
Me
Good?
Trivia. Yes. They gave me some barbecue when we left too.
What'd you
barbecue
get?
sauce. It was good. I think I did the whole, like, we did like gotta
Everything.
try everything out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta try a little bit, and then got cookout on the way back. So
I'm told Brent Reber says the wings were good as well.
I didn't have a bad thing there, so everything we tried was good. So
Love that.
Well, I'm looking forward to the wings tonight.
Speaking of wings, the Alabama white sauce wings.
You know it. That string.
You know they have other things on the menu.
No, they don't.
not in his mind.
Nope.
What are you going with tonight, Kai?
I had a salad with the pulled brisket last time. That was very good. The brisket is good.
Love that.
You know what I'm going with? Extra Alabama white sauce.
Oh, get an extra
double.
to go.
To dunk them in.
Oh, yeah. I always get extra Alabama. I literally take a drumstick and I'm dipping it in there and swirling it around and then coming out with it.
What's Thursday Night Football tonight? Do we know?
I don't know. That's a great question.
Stand by.
If your wings make it home
Broncos
to watch.
at the Chargers.
Oh.
Good game.
Actually, I haven't watched much of the
Good
Broncos,
game.
but
Really
I'm
good
excited.
game.
Yeah.
Have you guys watched Bo Nix yet?
I haven't watched. I was just saying I
yeah.
haven't watched much.
I haven't watched him.
Totally different guy from in college. Like he was like at Auburn was like, what is going on here? And
Sean Payton's
and then
hell
threw
of a
wide a bunch
hell
at
of a coach
Oregon,
now.
and then now here he is. They're
a little coaching.
They're a little coaching going on at Mile High.
Good for him, man. And they got a really good defense in Denver too, so that doesn't hurt much.
They always do.
Having a great defense.
Time channel.
7
Fox
channel.
30.
Fox 30.
Fox 30.
See,
It's-
don't
you're
come
so
for me.
excited about
Do
it.
not come to me for the information because I'm never
Come
correct.
on.
I just show up. Everyone else is in charge of the logistics.
7 o'clock tonight, Fox 30, String Sports Brewery in Springfield. Trayvon Walker is the guest for Jaguars All Access. Kai, we'll see you there.
Thanks, guys.
That's Kai Stevens joining us in studio, back with the Baptist Health Injury Report for the Jags. If you want customized Jags furniture for your home, check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair, furniture for fans. Coming up at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist. Waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Does propane power your home or business? Count on AmeriGas for expert propane delivery with a neighborly smile. At AmeriGas, the official propane partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, their drivers deliver for Duval. Their local team will keep your home or business running smoothly throughout football season and beyond. Call 844-PRO-JAGS for a free propane quote today. Grilling this tailgate season? Visit AmeriGas.com to find your closest cylinder exchange location and keep it teal with a custom Jaguars wrapped grill tank. Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A beautiful campus with an inspiring environment for learning, UNF is a key partner to Florida's booming industries, providing students with direct access to internships and jobs. Set a new course at UNF and soar into your future. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. It's Week 16. The Jaguars 3-11. The Raiders 2-12. A battle in the desert.
Sell it, JP.
Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, just off the Strip. First Jaguars visit there, by the way.
Have you? Because it's our first visit, so we've never been there. Have you gotten any feedback on the stadium and what it's like, and or anything like that?
Well, there's a football field at the bottom of it.
Well, I know that. Yeah. Have you heard from anybody of whether it's great or anything?
Didn't they just have the Super Bowl there like last year? Can't be bad.
Yeah, but I mean, my point is that like when you went,
I'm just messing with you. I haven't heard much feedback.
When went to Jerry's World.
Yeah, right.
Which
I've never been inside of, by the way.
When you walk in there, you go, "Oh wow, what a place!" I mean, it really is fantastic. And there are certain stadiums that I think, like Baltimore. I mean, it's a football stadium.
Absolutely, the sightlines are great. The whole thing,
great, yeah. And I haven't heard from anybody, or haven't heard anybody say anything about, man, Vegas, it's this, you know. So I'm looking forward.
I think the radio booths are pretty high, if I remember photos.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. You got glasses. It's fine.
Yeah, well, I got glasses. I mean, look at Houston is way high.
Yeah. The Superdome is really high at the very top.
Crazy high.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind the height. I just don't want to be tucked away in a corner.
Right. That's kind of the trend a lot of new places.
In a corner.
But I don't think you're in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good. But I'm looking forward to seeing it.
There are, and you mentioned these, actually teased this earlier, there are pretty stringent rules on what NFL personnel can do and not do in Las Vegas.
There is. From what I understand, casinos are not where you need to be.
Not on company time. And a business trip as this is company time from start to finish.
Yeah, which is fine because I'm not a casino guy anyway. Mm-hmm. You can't even walk into a sports book unless there's business there.
Yeah, or you are going through to go somewhere else in the building. That's the written rule. That's just what it is.
Right.
So mind your manners. Stay on your best behavior.
I'm okay as long as there's no restrictions on walking into a restaurant and eating good food. Then I'll be fine.
Plenty of that out there.
Then I'll be fine. I'm good.
You can find something. Time for the Baptist Health Injury Report, and it is out now for Thursday. The Jaguars have 4 players on the list this week. Ezra Cleveland with a knee issue, limited Wednesday and Thursday. Walker Little with an ankle issue, limited both days. Brandon Sheriff, knee, shoulder, head, shoulder, knees, toes, whatever for Brandon. Limited both days. He'll be a Warrior in play as always. Brenton Strange, the tight end with a shoulder issue, limited both days, but expected to go. And news from head coach Doug Pederson earlier this week that both Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram underwent shoulder procedures, and both were successful, so that's a good sign.
Talked a little bit with Evan this morning, and he looked great, sounded great. You know, had the whole kind of shoulder configuration, you know, the sling thing with the pad under the elbow.
Oh, wow.
And, he felt good. That surgery went great. And so now he's on the path to recovery, and I don't think it would be – I don't think either guy they're going to be fine for the off-season programs.
Okay, because, it's April.
Yeah, and look, people always say, well, they'll be limited. Well, everybody's limited in the off-season, right?
Right.
I mean, even somebody that like a Walker Little, like he tweaked his ankle, okay? When he comes back for the OTAs, he's going to be a little bit limited until he kind of gets into his flow. So the reality is everybody's kind of limited coming back.
I guess, the off-season program technically is mid-April, but that's the first phase where it's strength and conditioning only, and then the on-the-field stuff begins, 3 weeks after that, I suppose?
Well, and
late April, early May.
Off-season conditioning
OTAs,
for most players take maybe a week or two tops, if that. A lot of them continue to get treatment wherever they may be, and then they jump right back into some of the conditioning stuff. And it's not a lot of the high-impact stuff, but the last thing in the world that you want to do is to get away from the game and to be a complete couch potato, and eat Cheetos and, peanut butter and
would you
do
mix
nothing.
those two? You don't mix Cheetos and peanut butter.
Look,
That
there's a lot
sounds
of people that
disgusting.
mix a lot of things. I'm not a big Cheetos fan, but I am a peanut butter fan.
Okay.
Peanut butter goes with a lot of things, JP.
It certainly does.
Peanut butter and jelly,
protein.
peanut butter and honey,
it's made of
on
peanuts.
ice cream. Oh, it's wonderful. Love it.
Other side of the injury report, by the way, quickly, both quarterbacks, Aiden O'Connell and Desmond Ridder for the Raiders, have practiced full both Wednesday and Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
O'Connell had a knee issue, Desmond Ridder with a hip issue, so you would expect O'Connell would be back into the starting lineup this week. Jacoby Myers, the wide receiver, with an ankle issue, limited Wednesday and Thursday. And those are really the most notable issues for the Raiders. And that's the Baptist Health injury report. Baptist Health, changing health care for good.
Yeah, O'Connell gives them the best chance to win. Desmond Ritter's never really impressed me, whether he's been in Atlanta or watching him with the Raiders. He's kind of hadn't really figured it out how to read defenses and runs around a little bit, but it's not like he's an effective runner, so running around doesn't really help him much. But Aiden O'Connell gives them the best chance to win. If you go back and watch the Kansas City game, which was 3 weeks ago, end of November, they ended up putting like over 400 yards up against Kansas City, almost won that game. Aiden O'Connell ended up throwing for 340 yards, had an impressive game. It was like 110, 120 rating, something in that range. So, look, they're capable, but, we'll see how he's going to be.
The Raiders last week on Monday Night Football had 3 kicks blocked in the game. 1 punt blocked, 1 punt deflected, and one of their extra point attempts was blocked as well. I mean, you got to go test that again this week, right, and get a rush on.
I was kind of chuckling because I was doing my game board, and I was like, gosh, they got a lot of special teams coaches. Like when I was doing my board, this was before the game.
Yeah.
And so Tom McMahon is their special teams coordinator. Then he has 2 assistants, okay? He's got Cade Rannings and then Darius Swinton II. And so then all of a sudden I watch the game. I'm like, well, 3 coaches didn't pay off right there.
Yeah, right. It's always coaching in the NFL.
But seriously, when you're at this point where you're mathematically eliminated, you have to be aware of things like that. You have to be aware of things like that if you're the team. And then if you're a team with nothing to lose, you're also going to be more willing to take chances with fakes and also trick plays that may be on special teams. So I think if you're Doug Pederson, you are talking to your coaching staff and saying, hey, look, let's all be aware of where we are, where they are, and what could possibly happen because of that. Because you're just willing to assume a little bit more risk in a game when, things are kind of already done.
It's empty the bag. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, you got to do it now or never, almost.
And here's the one thing that trick plays and fun plays or fake plays create. It creates kind of energy in practice.
Oh, yeah.
For example, if you're throwing the ball to a fat guy, one of the offensive linemen, I'm joking around calling him fat guy because offensive linemen, for the most part, are not fat. They're in great shape. But, for example, if you throw the ball to an offensive lineman, like the Detroit Lions threw the ball to Dan Skipper, everybody's all fired up about it. And in practice, I'm sure they were fired up about it and having fun. that creates fun and excitement also for a team that may not be doing so good.
We got to have some fun, that's for sure. At 3-11, we're looking for that this week in Las Vegas. It's a place where we can have a lot of fun. The Jaguars and the Raiders coming up, and then up next, the Doug Pederson Show. We'll have the head coach in studio in mere moments. Thanks for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show. Brought to you by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
Welcome in the Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida from the Hyundai Studios, the Miller Electric Center. We're on the Jaguars Radio Network, presented by the University of Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Head coach Doug Pederson in studio with us. Week 16 is here. All right, it's a trip to Las Vegas. It's the weekend before Christmas. 3 weeks to go in the regular season. How challenging is keeping the team on task this week with so many things flying around?
You know, that's the thing, is we just got to stay on task. We got to focus on the Vegas Raiders, you know, and just do that. And again, I've said this in the past too. It's my responsibility to make sure that I don't let these guys slide and slip and look into next week with all the distractions around Christmas and family and all that. We still have a lot to play for, and I'm not talking about the postseason obviously, but just for ourselves, for our pride, to finish this season the right way. 3 games to go. Great opportunity for us on Sunday, and so I've got to put that in front of the team and say, guys, if we come out and play, as well at times offensively and defensively as we did last week, take care of the football, gives yourself an opportunity to win that game.
Going back to last week a little bit, offense had a better day. Mac Jones, I thought, played better. The 2 interceptions I'm sure he'd like to have back. Ball location, a big thing there. Defensively, how do you clean up the mistakes that have kind of been plaguing you guys throughout the year?
You know what? It boils right down to communication. From the sideline to the foyer or whoever's calling the defenses, on that particular play to the rest of the team. It boils down to communication. And then, I talk a lot about decisions and the choices we make in game and how they can affect the outcome of football games positively or negatively. And so just locking in on every single down, every single snap, and the decision, the choice that you make can decide the outcome of that particular play. And so it starts with the communication. I've got to be able to process the information on the field and then go execute my assignment.
Other thing that kind of popped up in this game, the Jets were able to have a fake punt. How aware, obviously you guys I'm sure have your own fake punts and et cetera designed at this point in the season, but where you are as a team, where a team like the Raiders are as a team, obviously the chances of plays like that popping up in the last 3 weeks are going up.
Everything's going up, and fortunate for them, they caught Chad Muma a little tight in his alignment. The awareness by our punt return team of not looking at their wing position guys, they were a little bit tighter, a little more squared stance. There's a bunch of indicators there, and we just weren't aware in that situation. It's something that we talk about, something we actually put our guys through every week, and I know Heath and Luke, we coach it in walkthroughs. We put them obviously in practice in those situations. So, but you're right. This time of year, got a couple of teams that aren't playing for postseason opportunities. So fake punts, fake field goals, whatever it might be, are definitely on the radar screen.
A lot of 4th down conversions in weird places sometimes. You never know how that can go. Head coach Doug Pederson with us. What stands out the most about this Raiders team, especially on their offensive side, outside of the quarterback carousel they've had this year? What do you look for first when you look at the Raiders?
Well, I think it has to start at the quarterback position. I think when you look at Aiden O'Connell and what he's been able to do as a young quarterback in this league, he's thrown and almost completing 70% of his throws outside the numbers. This is the National Football League. That's hard to do. He's about 66, 67% between the numbers. And that's because he has this guy by the name of Brock Bowers. And he's got a tight end, rookie tight end, who is playing almost at 1,000 yards. I think 90 catches for almost 1,000 yards. And they every combination of choice route, skinny little slant posts, all kinds of stuff to get him the football. And then he's great run after the catch. So that's where that yak is coming from. And then there's Jacoby Myers, who's still he's a good receiver. He's a guy that's making plays. Put the ball in his hands. He can stretch a field for you. Obviously, they're going to miss their McCormick, the running back. I think they put him on IR, so they're missing that piece. But I think they've got enough right there. Just getting the ball out of Aiden's hands, and he's smart. And the one thing when you look at this team, and really we're very similar in the way is that they're not creating takeaways. And we're not creating takeaways. And so the team that doesn't give the ball away really has a chance to win this football game.
And the Raiders have given the ball away more than any other team but one, so that's something hopefully you guys are able to take advantage of. But when you look at their offense, the one thing that is definitely lacking is a running game. Dead last in the league at running the football. They've got some rookies up front. How important is it as a team to be able to take advantage of that kind of weakness that they have?
Yeah, I think that just comes down to the guys up front, our defensive line, our linebackers. Just if we're going to create an eight-man box, make them throw the football, we've got to be able to stop the run, make them one-dimensional. That goes without saying. And we've been, I think, for the most part, our run defense has been okay throughout the course of the year. There are spurts where it's not as good, but I think if you look at last week too. I mean, when Aaron Rodgers is your leading rusher, it does say something for the rest of the team, and the fact that we were able to, stymie their run game. We just let the quarterback out of the pocket way too many times, and that's going to be the case this week. We might be able to smother the run game, but we can't let the quarterback out of the pocket. We've got to be able to get him on the ground and eliminate the scrambles, right? That's the part that kind of kills you and hurts you, because that creates an additional first down for your team. You stay on the field, a chance to score, but you're also taking time off the clock. So it's a challenge, but at the same time, it starts up front with our D-line, linebackers, creating eight-man pressures, and then being able to stop their run.
When you guys prepare for a game, you obviously don't look at every game that a team has played. You kind of probably pick, 4 or 5 games, right, to be able to make your evaluation. And I would have to think that you go back and you say, hey, let's include that Kansas City game that they had not long ago, because in the Kansas City game it was down to the wire. And I think the Raiders ended up having over 400 yards of offense, and Aiden O'Connell threw for 340 yards against the Kansas City defense very well is pretty damn good.
He did, and he had a really good game. I mean, they were one play away from probably kicking the field goal and winning that football game. But the biggest difference is number 98 is not on the defensive side of the ball, and it's unfortunate for them. He's a great player, a lot of respect for what he's done and how he plays. But you're right, though. Aiden and those guys, they did a great job of keeping, against Kansas City, and really that defense. That Kansas City defense is a really good defense. Mm-hmm. So yes, we take a look at that, and we put that in our breakdowns, and that's a game. That's a game we want to watch. And then also you go look at the Denver games, and they're playing a Bo Nix. They're playing a young quarterback. How are they attacking a young quarterback? This is a high pressure team. This is a high rate of pressure defense, and they zero blitzed the LA Rams 4 out of the first 7 snaps of the game. So you better get ready for the blitz.
Sending a message.
And saying, okay, boys, here's what's coming. Can you stop it? And if you can't, you're going to see it the rest of the day.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us. Brian Thomas Jr. continues just to trend upward. Obviously, last week statistically got the ball a bunch and took advantage of that, over 100 yards again. What else do you need to see from him in the final 3 games in his rookie year?
Nothing. Just keep doing what he's doing. Just keep showing the improvement. Keep showing the tenacity, the toughness. I think what you're seeing too is, and something that we'll probably explore a little bit in these next couple of weeks, is just using him differently, not just as a receiver. You may see him come out of the backfield from time to time, or motion him a little bit, put him inside the slot, put him in some stacks and bunches, and really move him around the formations, because now obviously defenses, if you go back and look at last week what the Jets did in the second half, particularly the fourth quarter of that game, they begin to double him. And now they're taking 2 guys. We're going to see the same thing against the Raiders. Once you get into the red zone, you get inside the 15-yard line, you're going to start to see those double-team coverages against BT, which means everybody else needs to step up and do their job. But for us as a team, as a staff, I just continue to improve. BT's he's a great receiver, great young rookie, been a bright spot for our team, this year, for our offense this year, and we're just happy to have him.
I couldn't believe last week the Jets actually lined a safety up on him to play him in man at the goal line. What are you doing? And then they lined up a corner that they just signed off the practice squad later in the game. Anyway.
See, every team has issues. Every team has issues.
Schematically, what are you doing? But look, he's a great football player, and there's another player that I thought really kind of emerged last week, and Brenton Strange emerged just because look, he had 11 balls, which has never happened with him before. But the thing that still shows up, even catching the football, is how tough a son of a gun he is.
He's just he loves ball. I think him and BT both just love to get out there on the grass and play football. And Brenton is one of those guys that he's been kind of in the shadow of Evan Ingram, the last couple of seasons. But we've seen it internally what he's capable of doing, right, through training camp and OTAs, and obviously through parts of the regular season. But this is the type of player that obviously we understand who he is, what he can do. He's a physical guy with the ball in his hands, as you mentioned. He's a good blocker. It's just going to continue to improve. And again, another young piece that we put around Trevor, as the future goes, and you continue to build those pieces. And, you've got a pretty good tandem there to throw the football to.
The pancake block that he had on Hassan Reddick into the end zone was a thing of beauty.
He's relentless. He's relentless. He's unbelievable. He's relentless that way. He has stiff arms. He lowers his shoulder when he has the ball. Just a great kid, tough player.
All right, so last question for me. I grew up, and you probably grew up in the same type of era where the Raiders were really good. Great players, a lot of them, when I was kids watching them. Who was your favorite, greatest Raider of all time?
Kenny Stabler.
Snake, come on.
Kenny Stabler. I grew up on the West Coast, north of Seattle, Washington State. So I was in that division when it was Seattle and the Raiders and and all that. And growing up and watching him, John Madden, that whole thing, and Coach Flores when he took over there, they had just some the black hole, Oakland Alameda Stadium. Just a place you just really didn't want to go play. And just growing up watching, they were tough. They were physical. They were that cheap shotting sort of team, the Lyle Alzados of the world. These guys were ruthless, and that's what you remember of the Raiders. And then they still, I think there's still some of that carries over. I'm not saying this is a dirty football team by no means, but that physicality that was present back then, you still see that today. And obviously that's a credit to Coach Pierce and what he's brought there.
Got to go match it this Sunday, though.
Yeah, you do.
And we'll see if we can get it done in Vegas. Good luck to you. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Head coach Doug Pederson with us in about 20 minutes. Andrew Catalon of the NFL on CBS. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
This is the Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We're at the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center ahead of Week 16. The Jacksonville Jaguars and the Las Vegas Raiders coming up from Allegiant Stadium in Sin City. That's head coach Doug Pederson joining us in studio earlier each and every week in the opening segment. And just trying to get these guys to the finish line here week to week. Yeah, you still want to win the games. You're getting some younger guys some playing time at the same time.
Yeah, well, the reality is that, I mean, a lot of the young guys you're already playing. And there's only really one guy, which is DeAndre Prince, which is a guy that probably you would not play if you were competitive right now competing for a playoff spot. But the reality is that I liked him in training camp. I thought he's got some really good man skills. He's got great hips. He can run like the absolute wind. Let him play. Let him play. I mean, I don't think the future is with Darby. So take a look at it and let him see what he can do. Let him get on the field, which has not been. I don't know. Has he even played a snap on defense all year long?
That's a good question.
I think he has, but it hasn't been very much. And kind of surprising, like last week, you had him active, but then he doesn't play anything on special teams. At the very least, you would think he would play special teams, right? But he didn't. He didn't play. It's like, well, if you got two guys that are active and dressed, have them do something. I don't know. Maybe
do something.
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 Cover a kick.
There.
Be a gunner. I don't know. But I like him. I'm looking forward to watching him play. I mean, I think he's, like I said, I think he's got some good man skills. And I know
he's played in 8 games this year.
But how many snaps?
I'd have to go.
You don't have snaps?
Game to game. Yeah, I don't know.
All right. Not a lot. Not a lot of snaps. I mean,
2 tackles, 1 solo, 1 assist.
Not great. But I'm looking forward to watching him. He was for those that don't know, he was a 5th-round pick, I believe.
Ole Miss.
Out of Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the proper name, Ole Miss, or did you say Mississippi?
It's the University of Mississippi, but Ole Miss is.
Ole Miss.
That's what they call it.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make
They're
sure.
They're playing in the Gator Bowl, too.
Yeah, against Duke.
Yeah. It's coming up.
Next.
It's the 2nd, January 2nd.
2nd, so it's a couple weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. At least.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Thursday.
Oh, 2 weeks from today.
Is it that close?
That would be correct.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, 2 weeks from today.
So Ole Miss will be in town.
Who's going to win?
We'll see. We'll see. Some players have opted out of the Duke.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Side of things.
Well, yeah, but also both sides, right?
But mainly Duke, especially the quarterback position.
Duke is not really a football school.
You think?
I remember I went just a quick little story. I went on a recruiting visit there. So years ago,
they had a good year this year. I'll give them credit. They
yeah,
had a really good
Look,
season.
congratulations to them.
That's right.
So years ago, I was in high school, and it
Story
was
time with Logs.
1985. Okay, and senior, taking college visits. Went to Virginia Tech. Went to Duke, University of Virginia. And I think I had one more trip scheduled. I ended up canceling it. The only reason that I went to Virginia Tech was to a friend of mine who was from the neighboring community, and our rival high school was going there on a visit, and I wanted to go with Randy Cockrell, good guy. And so went down there, met Bruce Smith. And so the next trip I go to Duke. And the only reason I went to Duke was because my high school friend, Billy King, who played basketball at Duke, was there, and it would be a great opportunity to go and hang out with Billy. wasn't going to go play football at Duke. I mean, they didn't put any resources into football.
I mean, you still had to make grades too, Logs. Let's be serious. Would you even qualify? You have to go to junior college.
I qualified.
Okay, all right.
And,
making sure.
And the whole time I knew I was going to University of Virginia because my brother was there, was a big fan, loved the coaching staff, loved the campus, loved the higher academic standards.
That's what. Yeah,
that they had at UVA.
The higher academic standards. Yes.
Graduated with a degree in economics, by the way. My brother graduated with a degree in aerospace engineering.
Congrats.
We were both four-year lettermen. JP.
I'm sure your folks are proud.
So anyway, to get back to this whole point of this whole thing, went to Duke on this visit and got to see Billy. Got to watch a basketball game. Got to watch the Duke University program practice basketball. And then the game itself over the weekend was not exactly highly attended. Not that I was going to go there anyway.
Football game, yes.
Yeah, and it was like a barn across the field. And back then, that's where they had to go to get dressed. So like the visiting team rolled up and they had like a Quonset hut for them as a locker room. And then even the Duke Blue Devils had this like detached brick building that looked like an old factory is where their locker room was. And it was like a 400-yard walk through an open field because it wasn't like the stadium was enclosed. It was a football. It had a track around it, some seats,
Wallace
and
Wade
kind of
Stadium.
open.
Yeah, it's been there forever.
Anyway, I hope the Duke has upgraded this facility since 1985.
I think they have. Story time with Logs is always entertaining.
It's always good.
We're back in a moment. Let's get into the story of this game when we come back. And there's really only one to choose from. There's a few like Jaguar storylines internally you're kind of looking forward to, but from the outside perspective looking in, there's one big selling point. Well, two big selling points.
Two.
We'll get to both of them when we come back. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
Football is back. Celebrate with a gay Duval meal deal. Score 2 Roller Grill favorites and a 20-ounce Coca-Cola soft drink for just $4.50. That means you can choose any 2 to pair with your Coke. 2 hot dogs, 2 tornadoes, 2 roller bites, or mix and match. Whether you're stopping for a quick snack or tailgating with friends, this is a victory for every Jags fan. Deal happening now through January 2nd, 2025. Stop by to purchase in store.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
We're back. The Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida, continues. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson, joining us in the opening segment each and every week. We're on the Jaguars Radio Network, presented by the University of Florida, #1 university in the U.S. News and World Report's #1 state for education. The Jaguars and the Raiders coming up. It's a 4:25 kickoff time. odd nerd note here. It's the first 4:25 kickoff for the Jaguars since the 2020 season.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know. It's just a
Does
thing.
it matter?
I don't even think it matters. But all the other 4 o'clock window games have been at 4:05. It was the last game of 2020, and they had to have both AFC South games at the same time because everybody else was competing for the division.
I would rather have a 4:05 start.
Yeah, well, yeah. Earlier is usually better, right?
Well,
just
earlier,
for travel
and then
purposes. For selfish reasons.
Well, yeah, you get home at a better time.
Yeah, I mean, John Ogier always says every game should be at 1 o'clock, but he just wants to get out early.
Well,
that's what he wants.
There's nothing wrong with that,
right? Anyway, the side note: the main storyline of this game, though, are the rookie pass catchers for each team. Of course, Brock Bowers, the tight end for the Las Vegas Raiders. He is the leading rookie in receiving yards and tied for the league lead in rookie receptions this year. 90 catches, 968 receiving yards. Ryan Thomas Jr. is right on his tail, though, in terms of yardage, 956 yards. Second among rookies in the NFL. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas's college teammate with the Giants, is third in yardage. Ladd McConkey, the former Georgia Bulldog with the Chargers, is fourth in yardage. So Bowers and Thomas could both go over 1,000 yards this year. This is what we're looking forward to in this game. These guys can really play and have really, as the season gone along, continued to grow.
Yeah, I was looking at the numbers for Brock to see what he did last week or this week against the Atlanta Falcons on Monday night. Only had 3 catches for 35 yards. But his best game of the year was at Kansas City at the end of November, which was the game that they had just a great offensive output, like 400 and some odd yards of offense, 434, if I remember right. In that game, Brock Bowers had 10 catches for 140 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
You hope that that's not the type of game that he has against the Jaguars. You would hope that Brian Thomas has a game like that against the Raiders. But it's going to be, I think, that's literally the focal point of the whole game, is those two young players, and can they get to certain milestones, and can they continue to increase their production to compete amongst all the rookie receivers.
The
pretty cool.
NFL rookie record for receiving yardage was last year. Puka Nacua had over 1,400 yards receiving as a rookie.
Yeah, nobody's going to touch
not gonna
that.
Get there.
Yeah, nobody's going to touch that. But the receptions may be at risk. Nacua had 105. Brock is currently at 90 3 games ago. All he's got to do is average 5 a game for 2, and one of them to have 6. And then he'll have that record, which would be impressive. And the rookie tight end reception record is his already. So when he's got 32 yards to 1,000, and I hate talking about the other players so much about this, but it's cool. I mean, he's a
good player.
He's an amazing rookie.
He's the guy you have to defend. I mean, that's the guy you got to talk about.
He's a really good football player. And what I like about him is that he's not just a Sam Laporta type receiver. He actually blocks and blocks well and can block defensive ends. He's no Brenton Strange blocking, I'll tell you that. But he's willing and he's capable, kind of like a Kittle, George Kittle kind of type, I guess you could say. There's not many guys like George Kittle that actually can do both. As far as like Evan Ingram, I'll give you a perfect example. Evan Ingram gets treated like a wide receiver in game plan and from defensive perspectives. They'll match him up with a defensive back. Brenton Strange, they're going to match up with more of a linebacker. Okay, Brock Bowers probably a linebacker, bigger safety because they got respect for his game as far as blocking, and that's where you get the true advantages when you have guys like George Kittle and Brock Bowers, Brenton Strange. If you can continue to be a legitimate threat receiving, those are the great matchups.
Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair, furniture for fans. When we return, Andrew Catalan has the call of this week's game on the NFL on CBS. We'll get his thoughts on that Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr. matchup. It's coming up next on the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
How close can you get with Verizon Access? Front row close. Red carpet close.
Oh my God!
Backstage passes close. Playing quarterback for your favorite NFL team close. Okay, not that close. But watching from the sidelines close? You bet. Get into the experiences you love, like concerts, games, and exclusive pre-sales just for being a Verizon customer. Verizon Access, you're in. Woo! Learn more at verizon.com/access.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show is presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick from the Miller Electric Center and the Hyundai Studios. More Jeff Lageman coming up shortly. Andrew Catalon has the call of this Jaguars-Raiders matchup on CBS this week. We get into the matchup of rookie pass catchers. Jags wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr. and Las Vegas tight end Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I think he's a star, JP. He is really impressive, the numbers that he's getting. And obviously they traded Devontae Adams midway through the year, and that really opened up him as their number one passing option. And he's taken advantage of that. I mean, he has a chance to break Mike Ditka's record. He's closing in on that mark, which would be just incredible for a rookie tight end. And, you know, we met with Brian Thomas Jr. a couple of weeks ago in Nashville. It was the first time that our crew had sat with him. Really impressed by him. I mean, he's got a great way about him, very serious, very focused, but also has a lighter side to him too. So our crew really enjoyed spending time with him. I really think that these two names are going to be names we hear for a long time to come in the NFL. I think both of these young pass catchers are here to stay.
How do you cover Bowers, though? I mean, I could ask that most weeks on most tight ends that face the Jaguars, but they've had issues down the field. He's got that balance of power and speed with the football.
Yeah, some preliminary talks with Jason McCourty, who's one of the people I'm calling the game with, and he thinks that Darnell Savage is going to be a big part of this game for the Jacksonville defense. We haven't met with them yet, but we will soon find out. But no, this is a game where, look, if you put all your attention on Bowers, it's not like Jacoby Myers can't go off either. So, yes, Bowers deserves that attention. Jacksonville needs to slow him down. But Myers is also having a nice season. I think the bigger question is can the Jaguars put pressure on the quarterback? We assume it'll be O'Connell. Don't give him time to find Bowers or Myers. Get after this guy a little bit. He doesn't move very well. So I think that's an opportunity for Jacksonville to maybe get after him quickly.
Which coach is kind of more on the hot seat, Pierce or Pederson?
Well, you look at the comments that Mark Davis made a couple of weeks ago about Antonio Pierce. And, you know, Tom Telesco, the general manager, is in his first year as the GM. And someone asked Davis, you know, are these guys going to be judged together, Telesco and Pierce, or separate? And he said, no, separate. Telesco is not going to be judged. I mean, that's not what you want to hear if you're Antonio Pierce. But, you know, to me, there's not a ton of great candidates out there this offseason. I think very highly of Mike Vrabel. I think that he's a guy that will get a job. I think he can probably get whatever job he wants, in my opinion. Beyond that, it's going to be a coordinator, or maybe not an experienced coach, maybe a first-year head coach, which is fine if that's the route you want to go. But I think that might help some of these coaches, Giants, Jaguars, Raiders, that it's not a slam dunk that you've got X, Y, and Z sitting out there.
Andrew Catalana of CBS Sports has the call this week of the Jaguars-Raiders matchup. The full conversation coming soon on the official Jaguars Podcast Network and Jaguars YouTube. We'll return. Jeff Lageman back with us. We'll take a look at the Jags defense and a plan to stop the big plays. Jeff Lageman will have an answer, maybe. Maybe not. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Can you imagine rising for work before the crack of dawn? Tending to hundreds of acres of land before dusk? Well, that's what happens on 47,000 Florida farms every day. Florida's farmers work hard to grow nutritious food for you and your family. And you can help support them by enjoying delicious Fresh from Florida produce. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo where you shop, or visit freshfromflorida.com to learn more.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
A quality replacement window made with Fibrex material, which is 2 times stronger than vinyl, delivered through a stress-free process. Welcome to Renewal by Anderson. Get the peace of mind knowing Renewal by Anderson handles everything from start to finish. With one call, you'll enjoy working with the best people, exclusive products, and superior process. It's the people, it's the process, it's the product. For a limited time, buy one, get one 40% off all windows and doors, plus 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. Renewal by Anderson. A better way to a better window. Restrictions apply. License number CGC 1527613.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. Glad you're with us on the Jaguars Radio Network, presented by the University of Florida, #1 university in the U.S. News and World Report's #1 state for education. The Jaguars and the Raiders coming up. And the Jaguars defense. Logs, they're ranked 32nd in the league in total defense. There are 32 NFL teams. That's last.
Yeah, they're struggling.
They are 24th against the run. They are 32nd against the pass.
Mm-hmm.
They are 29th on third down. They are 27th in goal-to-go situations, 22nd in the red zone, and they give up nearly 27 points per game on defense. And there's those, that's all the numbers. But the big plays, the explosive plays they allowed to get to those numbers in key moments, it just continues over and over and over again, and it seems to be the same song, different verse.
Yeah, where you're talking about the explosive plays in key moments, I think that's definitely the big problem. And this past game was no exception. And unlike the week before against Tennessee, this week you had a quarterback that could take advantage of that. And Will Levis wasn't very capable of that. If Will Levis was capable of that, Tennessee would have won that game.
Sure.
Had tight and open Chico Okonkwo in the end zone that would have been a touchdown. And you also had another play that could have been a touchdown to Calvin Ridley, and he was open in the middle of the field. And Will Levis just wasn't able to find that. Well, fast forward to the next game against the Jets, Aaron Rodgers is able to take advantage of a safety who's leaning out of his zone to find number 5, Garrett Wilson, in the middle of the field, and then Devontae Adams down the seam. And I don't know where the safeties were, taking a nap. I don't know, but Devin Lloyd carried that route for 39 yards, and no safety was able to make a play. And when Devontae Adams actually catches the ball, he's past the safeties. That can't happen. And then late in the game, Devontae Adams on the one that he's wide open because the Jaguars don't pass off. They got one guy chasing, the other guy stopping, and you got a hole in a zone that is gaping hole, and Devontae Adams strolls down to the 1 yard line, and then the Raiders punch it in. I mean, it's just you can't have plays like that.
But how do you get past that as a team? Is it
one of
different
two things.
personnel?
One,
is it more homework? Is it what is it?
I think there's 3 different ways. Number one is that you take the player out that continues to make the mistakes. Number one. Number 2, coach them better. 3, players got to play better. And the problem is that this is kind of a recurring thing. It's happening again and again and again. So I said this earlier in the week that part of this falls on coaching. And that, look, you can't continue to have mental breakdowns and expect them to all of a sudden solve it and not have any mental breakdowns. You got to look at what you're doing.
Eureka, we did it. Right?
So
it's not going to happen.
Do you simplify? I mean, do you not ask them to do that, or change the players that are making the mistakes? I mean, you got to do something. I mean, it can't keep happening. And I think that's obviously, when you're at that point, it's not easy to fix because, okay, well, where do you go next with the players? But at the same time, you have to hold them accountable. And then you also, as coaches, need to hold yourself accountable. Hey, look, are we teaching it right? Are they absorbing the information that we're teaching, to where they fully understand what's expected of them? And those particular plays, it wasn't good, Coach. I mean, you can't have that.
That whole fourth quarter, I know the Jags lead the league in pretty much every big play metric. There, even when you break it down, right?
There's different metrics. Like, for example, you can have one that says, okay, a run of 15 or more, and then a pass reception of 20 or more, and they're like 20 plays higher than the next closest team as far as allowed.
Right.
The other way is a run of 12 and 12 yards plus, a reception of 16 yards plus, and that one they're hands down the worst team in the National Football League, and that's like 120 plays allowed. It just depends on where you're at, and then if you look at the scores of 20 or more, I mean it's pretty high. It's a lot. It's just not very good. It's not very good, and it's just disappointing that this defense last year, I mean, if you look at where they were at last year, they were, middle of the road, I guess, and I pulled it up just out of curiosity, 22nd total in defense, 9th against the run, 26th against the pass. You were 8th on third down. You had 40 sacks and 27 takeaways, and just looking at the sacks and the takeaways, right now you've got 26 sacks, and you've only got 8 takeaways compared to the 27 that you had last year. I mean, that's season total, so
that's right.
Still 3 games to go, but it's a significant difference, and it's not where you expected to be. You expected to improve upon last year, and you haven't come anywhere close to that.
I mean, they changed the entire scheme. New coordinator, entire scheme changed. They bring in all these high-priced free agent guys to go with some draft pick guys. I mean, this is supposed to be a step and get rid of some of these big plays. That was some of the issue last year too.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of things that you can sit there and kind of scratch. You can sit there and say, was this the right thing? And then, signing guys, I mean, were they the right guys? You had a position change with Foye Lukin, who, by the way, for 3 years was one of the top 3 tacklers in the league, and you had him switch positions. Was that for the betterment of the defense? I would say no. And I think in hindsight, which is always 20/20, and it's always more accurate to be able to evaluate it from once it's happened. But I don't think that was necessarily the right move for this defense, because he's a captain and he's a leader. He's kind of one of those guys, and he's a green dot guy. And when I say green dot guy, he's got the green dot in front of the huddle, calls the plays, and that's typically the mic when he got moved to Will. So, and Devin has struggled at times. He's been productive at times, but has had some issues, So, yeah, so they've done some things, and it hasn't worked. And they've got 3 games to kind of finish it out and see where they end up.
We'll return with a look at a couple of Jaguars offensive players that went under the knife this week.
That's never fun.
You might know who they are.
I do know who they are. I know absolutely who they are.
Well,
and I hope everything went great for them.
We'll find out when we come back. It's the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks at kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtimes. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's the Get Holiday Ready sales event with Hank and Sam from the Ford crew. Today, a new shipment of inventory.
Hank, what's going on?
Another hauler full of new Ford trucks and SUVs, Sam.
So much SUV capability. Is that?
Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks for 47 years. And a big selection means...
Big savings?
Yep, which means...
It's the best time to buy?
Well done, Sam. And time for America to get holiday ready with Ford.
Based on 1977 to 2023 CY Industry reported total sales.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com. The world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com. Officially licensed everything.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Our thanks to head coach Doug Pederson in the opening segment each and every Thursday. And Andrew Catalon, CBS Sports. We'll have the full conversation with him later on the official Jaguars Podcast Network. Yes, Jeff Lageman.
Who is his cohort for the broadcast?
Well, he's got two. He's got Jason McCourty and he's got Tiki Barber.
Okay. The two of them do. First of all, they're nice guys, and I have never listened to their broadcasts, obviously because we're a little busy during that time.
Kind of.
But I'm a big Tiki Barber fan. He's a Virginia guy, so got to give him a little love.
Okay, it's great. That's the
Tom
end?
Coughlin taught him
the end.
Tom Coughlin taught him how to not fumble. High and tight. You remember that?
Yeah, I've heard that a time or two.
Hold it up here.
He held it like a loaf of bread in college.
He was kind of a little loose with it at UVA, I guess.
Yeah, had some good teams.
Tom Coughlin had him holding that thing way up here.
He was on some pretty good teams in Virginia.
I know. That was back when I guess UVA started paying their players a little better. Started getting a little better caliber
Wasn't
of
he
player.
on the team, or am I forgetting this, that finally beat Florida State? It was like their first ever ACC loss or something?
I don't.
I think it was.
That was after my time. When I was there, the big deal was trying to beat Clemson because Virginia had never beaten Clemson in the history of the two schools. And we had them beat at UVA one time, and we screwed up a play at the end, kind of a mental error. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm.
Where we gave up an explosive play for a touchdown.
Heard that before.
When we had a win in hand. But yeah, I don't know, because that's kind of recent stuff.
I was right on.
You were.
1995, Tiki Barber had a big ball game that day.
Yeah, but
193 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they beat Florida State. It was FSU's first ever ACC loss.
Right.
In like 3 years.
But it was a relatively short history.
Yeah, but still.
See, the Virginia-Clemson thing went back 100-something years.
Correct.
Which was not good.
Trevor Lawrence and Evan Ingram, Jaguars quarterback and tight end. You know that, of course, went under the knife this week, according to head coach Doug Pederson. Both came away with successful surgeries on their shoulders, respectively. So now the process to get back on track can begin, and 2025 offseason is here for both of those guys now.
Yeah, and getting healthy, priority number one for those guys, and then, kind of getting back to being a football player where you can work out and stuff. And that's rehab is always a challenge in the offseason because, you're as a player, you're always trying to get better. But when you have a surgery, it's a setback, and then you have to try to claw your way back to where you were. And then as a player, you're trying to get better, right? So then you're trying to even go beyond where you were at. And fortunately, it seems that these surgeries were relatively minor because it was on somebody else besides me. So that's right. A positive.
Yeah.
You hear people use that term all the time. I think Evans was fairly minor, and I think Trevor's was maybe a little bit more involved. I'm not exactly sure, but hopefully these guys will be great for next year.
The only minor surgery is the one not happening to you.
Correct.
That's right. We're back in a moment. Our final thoughts ahead of this Jaguars-Raiders showdown in the desert. Allegiant Stadium, just off the Strip.
Have you checked the weather?
You don't have to. It's in a dome.
No, I know. It's in a dome, but I'm just talking about for just
Crazy?
being in Las Vegas.
We'll let you figure that out in a moment. It's
You
the
said-
Doug
you say a
Pederson
desert,
Show on Jaguars Radio.
Floridians, do you know how close you are to freshness? It's not a plane or a ship ride away. It's not across an ocean or over the equator. It's not even a far drive. The peak of freshness is at your grocery store, and it's called Fresh from Florida. Fresh from Florida is local produce grown by farmers right here in our own state, meaning it's always fresh, always in season, and always mouth-wateringly good. Look for the sunny Fresh from Florida logo or ask for it by name where you shop.
Are you suffering from shoulder pain? If you have clicking and popping in the shoulder joint, persistent pain that intensifies with use, an inability to lift your arm over your head, or a tingling, burning sensation in the shoulder, elbow, or wrist, waiting to see a doctor could make your injury worse. Baptist Health and Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute have innovative and effective treatment options available right now to relieve your pain and restore your mobility. Don't wait. Call 904-JOI-2000.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Football is back. Celebrate with a gay Duval meal deal. Score 2 roller grill favorites and a 20-ounce Coca-Cola soft drink for just $4.50. That means you can choose any 2 to pair with your Coke. 2 hot dogs, 2 tornadoes, 2 roller bites, or mix and match. Whether you're stopping for a quick snack or tailgating with friends, this is a victory for every Jags fan. Deal happening now through January 2nd, 2025. Stop by to purchase in store.
The 2024 season is Pawsome. Register your pet for the Four-Legged Fan Club, presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your furry friend can access exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Fan club members will be automatically entered to win the Pet of the Game sweepstakes, with 2 Jags tickets and sideline passes for pet owners, and the chance for your pet to be featured on the video boards as Pet of the Game. Visit Jaguars.com/promotions/Four-Legged Fan Club to sign up.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Final moments of the Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman ahead of the Jaguars-Raiders matchup. Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, a 4:25 kickoff time. Eastern, 3:30 with countdown to kickoff here on the Jaguars Radio Network. And the Jaguars headed to Vegas for the first time. First game for the Jags in the new place. And you know, hey, long road trip. Historically, it's been a struggle on the West Coast. A lot of times in the recent history, it's been a struggle in most time zones, but yes, on the West Coast as well. Trying to get past that with the long travel, weekend before Christmas, all that goes with it, everything that's happened this year. The Raiders are struggling too. But, hey, the game will be played at 4:25 Eastern on Sunday.
Yeah, and I wonder exactly what kind of environment it's going to be. I mean, because
good question.
You know, like Monday night was, I was watching the game. You probably were too.
Yep.
And I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched part of it. And the Raiders game is always a little bit kind of like Halloween. It's a big deal. Sometimes teams will travel just because it's an opportunity to go to Vegas, right?
It's a destination game, yeah, sure.
Sure. So they can go there and enjoy themselves besides just watching a football game. And so I wonder what it's going to be like from an environment standpoint. How many Jaguar fans will travel? It's during the holiday season. People aren't as likely to travel. So I'm real curious to see what that's like.
How many Raider fans are there?
Well, I mean, the reality is just like, the Rams and the Chargers, when they play at home, it seems like there's a lot of other fans from the other teams there. When I guess with Vegas, is it like that all the time, or is it mostly Raiders fans? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to watch to see how kind of loud and how boisterous the fan base is there, because I don't know if a lot of Jaguar fans would travel, but maybe they will, and I hope they do. And be safe, please, if you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get crazy.
No. But the Jags defense obviously needs to play better. We've said that all season. The Jags offense last week had some positive things going for them, ran the ball pretty well. Brian Thomas Jr., Brenton Strange.
How many targets did Brian have this past
12? Game? I don't know what he had. 14?
I'm going to pull it up because you know what? Whatever he had, have that or even more in this game, right?
Brian Thomas had 14 last week.
14 targets.
12 the week before that, but 10 in the second half.
So I'm thinking if he had 10 in the second half, 10, let's say it's 16 targets.
16.
Sure.
Just feed the beast.
Feed him. He's your best player. He's your best player right now. And he's your most explosive player. He's what gives you energy as a team. Think about that. Think of how many times this year where this team has been flat for lack of a better word. And then all of a sudden,
nice word, yeah.
You hit number 7 with a explosive play, and then it ignites your team. And all of a sudden, the energy all of a sudden is there. Well, if that keeps happening with number 7, then keep giving it to number 7. And if I'm number 10, I'm making sure number 7 is in my sights.
It's not a bad strategy to throw it his direction. Brenton Strange as well came on last week, of course, 12 targets, 11 catches, 73 yards. He is third on the team in receiving yards this year.
Pretty good.
And that just tells you that Kirk and all those other guys, Gabe Davis has been banged up a bunch too.
By the way, you just kind of glossed something over there without emphasizing it. 12 targets, 11 receptions.
Yeah.
That's a hell of a percentage right there for target to catch ratio, which is impressive. And then what Brett does after the catch is also impressive because he's strong and he doesn't go down easily.
Jaguars All Access TV tonight, 7 o'clock, Fox 30, String Sports Brewery. Who you got?
44. Trayvon Walker.
I've heard of it.
Looking forward to it.
Should be a fantastic show. Go check him out at Strings tonight. Thanks to our entire crew, David Joe, Brent Reber, Joe Fortunato, William Pease as well. For Jeff Lageman, I'm JP Shadrick. Thank you for listening to the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.